Go stand in your garden shed for a second and actually read the labels. The weed killer tells you to wear gloves and keep it away from pets. The rust remover says harmful if swallowed. The bug spray practically glows with warning symbols. And the lime cleaner? You are not even sure why you bought it, but it has been leaking onto the shelf for 2 years. Now here is the part that is going to bug you a little. A huge chunk of that expensive, hazardous, kid and dog unfriendly shelf can be replaced by 1 jug of vinegar that costs about $3 at the grocery store. White vinegar is basically water with around 5% acetic acid in it, and that acid is doing far more work than you would ever expect. It dissolves rust, breaks down mineral crust, scrambles the scent trails that ants live by, and at the right strength, it will fry a weed right down to the stem. People have been cleaning with it for thousands of years, long before anybody bottled a single specialty product. So, before you spend another dime restocking that shelf, let's go through 9 jobs in your shed and yard that a plain jug of white vinegar can handle. Grab your gloves anyway because some of these get strong, and let's get into it. Number 1. Kill weeds without the Roundup. This is the big one, and it's the reason most people end up with a shed full of chemicals in the first place. Weeds in the driveway cracks, weeds along the fence line, weeds in the gravel where nothing should ever grow. The standard answer is a sprayer full of glyphosate. The cheaper, simpler answer is vinegar. Acetic acid is what scientists call a contact herbicide. When it hits a leaf, it strips away the waxy coating and tears into the plant's cell walls, and the plant loses its ability to hold moisture. Within a day, the leaves are brown and crispy. Agricultural researchers tested this years ago and found that even ordinary 5% household vinegar wiped out young weeds in their first couple of weeks of life. Here's the honest part, because I want you to actually succeed with this. Household vinegar is a contact killer, which means it scorches what it touches but doesn't always reach deep roots. Tender young weeds and annuals like crabgrass? Easy. Big established perennials with monster root systems can bounce back, so you may need to hit them more than once. A few field-tested tricks. Add a small squirt of dish soap so the vinegar clings to the leaves instead of rolling off. Spray on a hot sunny day for the fastest results. And remember, it's non-selective, meaning it will happily kill your prized plants too, so aim carefully and shield anything nearby with a piece of cardboard. There is also stronger horticultural vinegar, around 20% acetic acid, that crushes tough weeds, but that stuff is genuinely caustic and needs goggles and gloves, so respect it. Number 2. Dissolve rust off your tools. Every shed has them. The pliers that seized up, the rusty hand trowel, the box of corroded screws and bolts you keep meaning to throw out. Most people either toss them or buy a harsh chemical rust remover that comes with its own pile of warnings. You don't need any of that. Rust is iron oxide, which is just what happens when iron meets oxygen and moisture for too long. The acetic acid in white vinegar reacts with that rust and converts it into iron acetate, a compound that dissolves in water and rinses away. It's not a folktale. It's a real chemical reaction, and it's the same one happening in those pricey rust remover bottles, only gentler. Here's how to do it. Drop your rusty tools, screws, or hardware straight into a container and pour in enough undiluted white vinegar to cover them. For light surface rust, give it a few hours. For the really crusty pitted stuff, let it soak overnight. The longer it sits, the more rust breaks loose. When you pull the items out, scrub them with steel wool or a wire brush, and the softened rust comes right off. If you want, follow up with a quick baking soda and water rinse to neutralize any leftover acid, which matters for tools with fine surfaces or tight crevices. One step nobody should skip. Dry the metal completely and immediately, because clean bare metal sitting in air and moisture starts rusting again within hours. Wipe a thin film of cooking oil or machine oil over everything when you're done, and your rescued tools will stay protected. Number 3. Clean and degunk your garden tools. Beyond rust, garden tools just get nasty. Dried mud caked on the trowel, sticky sap gluing up your pruners, grass packed under the mower deck, grime built into the handles. The usual move is reaching for a solvent or a heavy degreaser. Vinegar handles most of it. Acetic acid is a workhorse cleaner. It cuts through grease, breaks down dried-on dirt, and loosens that sticky residue that builds up on blades and shears. Wipe your tools down with a vinegar-soaked rag, or for the really stubborn gunk, let the metal part sit in a vinegar bath for a bit before scrubbing. Your shovels, hoes, and shears come out looking like they actually belong to someone who takes care of their stuff. Vinegar does have some antibacterial muscle which helps knock back the everyday grime and odor on handles and surfaces, but here I will be straight with you because it matters in the garden. Vinegar is a cleaner, not a registered disinfectant. It does not reliably kill every plant pathogen or germ. So if you have been pruning a diseased plant and you are worried about spreading it to healthy ones, clean with vinegar first, then sanitize the blades with something proven for that job. For general, my tools are filthy cleaning, though vinegar is more than enough, and it will not leave toxic residue on the surfaces that touch your food crops. Number 4. Strip mineral crust off clay pots. If you garden in terracotta or clay pots, you know the look. That chalky white crust that builds up on the rim and sides over a season or two. That salt and mineral buildup from your tap water and fertilizer, and it's not just ugly. Those crusty deposits can actually burn or dehydrate the plant stems that rest against them. Most people scrub and scrub with strong cleaners and barely make a dent because clay is porous and soaks everything in. Vinegar does the work for you. The acetic acid reacts with the calcium and mineral deposits and dissolves them. You'll literally see and hear it fizz when it hits the crust, which is the acid breaking down those mineral carbonates. Mix 1 part white vinegar to about 4 parts water. Empty the pots out and let them soak for around half an hour. For really stubborn buildup, you can go stronger, even soaking overnight, or wiping the worst spots with full-strength vinegar on a rag. Then scrub the loosened crust off with a stiff brush or scouring pad and rinse well. A couple of pro notes. Let the clean pots dry fully in the sun, and don't stack damp terracotta pots together because they can crack. And if a pot held a diseased plant, vinegar will clean and descale it, but it is not a guaranteed sterilizer, so handle disease situations separately. For the ordinary end-of-season crud, though, this saves your pots and your knuckles. Number 5. Break the ant highway. Crawling pests are where a lot of money goes up in chemical smoke. The second people see a line of ants marching across the shed floor or up the patio, they buy a poison spray. Vinegar offers a smarter, less toxic move that goes after how ants actually operate. Ants navigate by laying down invisible scent trails. Basically, chemical highways that tell the rest of the colony exactly where to march. White vinegar's sharp odor erases those trails. Wipe or spray a treated surface, and you don't just clean it, you delete the road map the ants were following, and you leave behind a smell they'd rather avoid. Mix equal parts white vinegar and water in a spray bottle. Hit the thresholds, baseboards, windowsills, and any visible trail lines around your shed, garage, patio, or garden paths. Each pass wipes out the trail and tells the scouts this route is a dead end. It won't poison the colony the way a chemical bait does, but it disrupts their navigation and keeps them from treating your space like an open buffet. Because ants are persistent and will try to rebuild their trails, the trick is to reapply, especially after rain or a good cleaning. Pair it with keeping food and crumbs cleaned up, and you make the whole area boring and confusing to them, which is exactly what you want. No skull and crossbones spray hanging in the air where your kids and pets play. Number 6. Send stray critters packing. Cats using your seed bed as a litter box. Rabbits treating your lettuce like a salad bar. Curious critters digging where they should not. The garden center has a whole aisle of animal repellents and most of them are not cheap. A jug of white vinegar is a simple solution. Animals have far more sensitive noses than we do and they hate that sharp vinegar smell. The approach is easy. Soak some old rags or cotton balls in white vinegar and tuck them around the spots you want protected, like the edge of a flower bed, near the shed door, or around an entry point a critter keeps using. You can also spray a vinegar perimeter around the area. As the smell fades, the deterrent fades with it, so refresh the rags every few days and reapply after rain washes it away. One important warning so you do not trade one problem for another. Do not spray vinegar directly on your plants or soak the soil around them. Remember from earlier that acetic acid is a contact herbicide, so it can scorch leaves and acidify soil. Keep it on the rags, the hard surfaces, and the perimeter, not on the greenery you are trying to save. This will not work like a force field on every animal, and stubborn visitors may test you. But for cats and small critters that simply find the smell offensive, a vinegar barrier is a cheap, non-toxic first line of defense that is worth trying before you spend real money on commercial repellents. Number 7. Wipe out mold and mildew on outdoor surfaces. Spring comes around and everything that lived outside all winter looks grim. Green and black mildew creeping across the patio furniture, mold spotting the shed siding, that filmy gunk on plant saucers and trash bins. The reflex is to grab bleach. Vinegar can take a big bite out of this without the fumes and the splash damage to everything around it. The acidity in white vinegar makes the surface hostile to many common molds and mildews, and it cuts through the grimy organic stains they leave behind. Spray it on at full strength, give it some time to sit and work, then scrub and wipe the surface clean. It is a great fit for patio chairs, plastic storage bins, pots, and the outside of your shed. Now, the honest limits. Because I would rather you trust me than be disappointed. Vinegar is a strong cleaner with real antimicrobial properties, but it is not a registered disinfectant and it will not kill every type of mold, especially mold that is deeply rooted into something porous like softwood or drywall. For surface mildew on hard outdoor surfaces, vinegar shines. For a serious infestation eating into a porous material, you have got a bigger project than any spray bottle can fix. And one safety rule you must never break. Do not mix vinegar with bleach. Combining the two creates toxic chlorine gas that will have you running for fresh air. Pick one or the other, never both. Number 8. Make your own glass and window cleaner. The shed window you can barely see through. The greenhouse glass with a film on it. The dusty workshop window. The grimy car windshield. The patio door covered in pollen. You have probably got a bottle of blue ammonia cleaner somewhere for this, and you can retire it. A simple 50-50 mix of white vinegar and water is one of the best glass cleaners going. The acetic acid cuts through grease, dust, and the hard water film that makes glass look cloudy, and it does it without the harsh ammonia smell. It dries clear, and when you buff it with a clean cloth or even crumpled newspaper, you get a streak-free shine that rivals anything in a spray bottle. Pour it into a reusable spray bottle, mist the glass, and wipe. It works on shed windows, greenhouse panels, car glass, mirrors, and storm doors. Because there is no toxic residue, you do not have to worry about it lingering where you store seeds, tools, or anything you will handle barehanded later. The one place to keep it away from is natural stone. Acid and stone like marble or granite do not mix, because the acid can etch and dull the finish, and the same goes for being too aggressive on certain delicate sealed surfaces. But for plain old glass and most windows, this cheap 2-ingredient mix replaces a whole category of specialty cleaners. Number 9. Test your soil's pH for free. Here's a bonus use that is not about cleaning at all. It is about saving you from buying a test kit you will use twice. Before you dump fertilizer or lime or sulfur into your beds, it helps to know whether your soil leans acidic or alkaline, because the wrong pH locks up nutrients and your plants struggle no matter what you feed them. You can get a rough read with vinegar and a little kitchen chemistry. Scoop a couple of spoonfuls of soil into a container and pour in some white vinegar. If it fizzes and bubbles, your soil is alkaline, meaning the pH is above 7. That reaction is the acid hitting the carbonates in alkaline soil. The more dramatic the fizz, the more alkaline the soil. If the vinegar does nothing, run the second half of the test. Put a fresh scoop of soil in another container, dampen it with a little distilled water, and add some baking soda. If that one fizzes, your soil is on the acidic side, with a pH down in the 5 to 6 range. And if neither test reacts at all, congratulations, your soil is sitting in that neutral sweet spot most plants love, somewhere around 6.5 to 7. This is not a precise lab reading, so for fussy plants or a serious garden plan, you will still want a proper test kit or meter. But as a quick, free first look that points you in the right direction, 2 pantry items beat guessing every time. A quick word before you toss the chemicals. Vinegar is impressive, but it isn't magic, and a few rules keep you safe. Never mix it with bleach because that combination makes toxic gas. Keep it off natural stone, grout, and anything you don't want etched. Remember, it can scorch plants and acidify soil, so aim with intention. And while it cleans like a champ, it's not a hospital-grade disinfectant, so use the right tool when real germ killing is on the line. Stay within those lines, and that single cheap jug genuinely retires half the hazardous shelf in your shed. If this gave you a few ideas, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so the next batch of money-saving hacks finds you. Now I'm curious. Pick just one of these, give it a real shot this week, and come tell us in the comments how it went. Did the weeds wilt? Did the rust let go? We read every reply, and your results help the next person. See you in the next one.